Where does Hoops get off telling captains to take the points? And the extension, in all seriousness, has there been a better time to be a rugby fan in Australia in the last decade/20 years? But that first question there, Hoops, do you want me to give context for the weekend?
Do you want me to ask, is this your mate again?
No, this isn't my mate.
You've got a habit of bringing your mates in to ask questions on this show. So is this one of yours again?
This is not one of my mates, but I have the same question. So do you want me to give the context?
Oh, so you wrote the question?
No, I didn't write the question. I had nothing to do with this. But it's early Sunday morning, the coverage of the Wallabies taking on South Africa. At about the 52nd minute mark, the South Africans conceded a penalty in their own 22 and were warned next defensive penalty down there, yellow card. And so the question mark the commentators were all judging was, do you take points? At that point, it was 22-12 to South Africa. Do you take points, close the gap a bit, bring it back to a 7-point gap, or do you kick to the line, maybe try and get yourself another penalty and maybe a yellow card to the South Africans? We lose our own line out, but then because the kick isn't cleared too far, we get a line out again on the 22. And I think at that point you say, that hasn't cost Australia too much. You get another crack here in the 22. But as a captain, you look back at moments like that or those sort of moments and you think, should I have taken the points, which is what the Rugby Report Card guys...
Yeah, no, I actually love this question.
Because the insinuation is, that as a captain, you didn't take points a lot. Well,
I didn't go to the line a lot. That's what they're saying.
You didn't go to the post a lot.
You're saying I take posts more. Is that what you're saying?
No. You went to the line a lot more than taking 3 points.
Oh, I read that the other way. I read that they're very happy that Wilso went to the line. Instead, I would have taken a kick at goal. So, look, I think it's... Am I hearing that wrong?
I think they said you didn't take the points.
Okay, yeah, it's certainly early on in my career, and I think it's good because it's a good teaching moment. So I think towards the later part of my captaincy career, earlier on, I liked to roll the dice, and I had some players around me who liked to roll the dice. And the thought of, sometimes it's just like a trust in your team thing, like, hey, if we kick to line here, of course we're going to score. But it doesn't always work out that way, and sometimes it can turn on the head, and, that happened on the weekend. I think no one knows better in terms of what decision to make than the captain on the field. And Wilso has the feeling of momentum or not. He is the feeling of what the coach, the referee said to him, which was that could potentially be a yellow card if they give away another penalty. Well, that's a great decision to try and roll the dice again, because if they infringe at this maul, they're going to go down to 14 men. That is a huge advantage and probably one that's worth the risk there. In terms of, I think you don't want to go off the cuff all the time. So you don't want to be going and trying to make the decision because there are a lot of variables. So I think towards the end of my career, I started thinking about a framework, and particularly when you have a good goal kicker in your team. So a framework for me was, OK, if you're inside the 15s, 40 and 15, so that sort of box, you've got a very good chance of your kicker hitting it. If there was a penalty given in that zone, the question I would ask myself was, why shouldn't I take a kick at this goal? So if you look at the decision on the weekend that Wilso made, there, pretty much it's, I could kick that over and I'm a terrible kicker. So why shouldn't I take this kick at goal? Well, the refs just told me that if they give away another penalty, we've got all the momentum and they're going to get a yellow card. That seems like a risk that's worth taking. So tell me why I shouldn't take a shot at goal. I'll take a shot at goal because if we go to line and they win it or something happens, they kick out, we get another shot. Now, I think we end up losing, like you say, lost back-to-back line-outs. But the thing that did happen is it just kept the pressure on the South Africans, kept them down in their zone. So, I'll revert all the way back to my first point. No one knows better than the captain on the field. But it is important as Wilso goes along in his captaincy journey just to have a framework or maybe one or two players who he can bounce off who are of the same decision, or a conversation pre-game with his coach that says, what if this situation happens? Where do we sit at? And it sounds like Joe Schmidt would be having those conversations and saying, this is something that you should consider when it comes to taking points or going to line.
It's really interesting watching in Test rugby. We've seen already, even the Lions' second Test, are just thinking Tommy Liner was banging him over. Because in Super Rugby, no one was taking penalty goals.
Oh, it took the Reds until like the second last regular season.
So at that point, you're thinking, is the game changed? Like, is it, like it's like NFL now? It's just a matter of staying down there and you'll score. But, in Test rugby, clearly defences are better.
Yeah,
you got to take, points through to premium, you take them.
It does change game to game, and I'll tell you this one. I remember playing a game 2018 against Wales, and we get a penalty out, and I look to, I'm thinking, you know, we had all the momentum. It's probably 3-3 at this point. Bernard can kick this goal every day of the week. And Bernard runs in, turns around, and I was thinking, yeah, but 7 points is pretty juicy. I think we can do it. He looks and he goes, yeah, go line. So we go line. We kick to the line, and our hooker, not on purpose, but overthrows it. They catch it, go 70 metres. There's a couple more penalty goals exchanged. Game ends. We lose 9-6. Go into the press conference after, and you and your friends, always go, geez, you know, are you regretting not taking the shot at goal? And everyone's a genius, aren't they? After that, you know, there's hindsight and everything like that. So, you know, at the time, would I have taken the shot at goal? Yeah, probably. And that was a good lesson. It was a good lesson for me to go, okay, there's a framework to build and how you make that. Because you never know. We could have scored 3 points, we go up 6-3, and then we receive a kickoff and they just score again, you know, on the corner. So there's so many decisions to make, and, you know, the captain knows best, and Wilso's doing a great job.
You and Timmy often in commentary have some great debates over take the points or kick to line. It's a bit like Statler and Waldorf. Is that Statler and Waldorf?
Really?
The two old blokes from the Muppets up on the balcony, gibbering away.
Yeah, look,
you're a points man, though.
Sometimes I'm a points, yeah, but there was always a time where Greggs would sort of give you the side glance and he'd say, "Have we got this?" And I'd say, "Yeah, we got it." So we'd go to the line and we'd play a move. We'd play something that we've got some sort of picture card that we know is the right time and momentum and feeling, and the referee's here. We know that, you know, we know that Venta's racing off on the 15. We can run a little short ball off the side. Bondi, make sure you're off Griggs' right-hand shoulder. I'm going to win the ball at the back, no problem. JP, this is the throw. All the other ones have gone all over the shop, but this is the one. So that all comes together, you know, and the captain is the one that gets to orchestrate it. So absolutely, and you know what? Once your captain makes the call, you're all in. So, and that's the team psyche, and that's what you do. And you know, I have no qualms about what happens on the field in the cauldron of the arena when the people who are on the grass are making decisions. 14 blokes are all in.
Have you ever been in a team where the coach sends messages out, like Rassie with his?
Oh yeah, no, that's actually a really good way, because sometimes on the field you actually, like, you know, if there's bonus points involved or things like that, you haven't got time to do the math or, you know, what certain things could look like. So you could sometimes set up situations where you've got the water boy to, you know, if he holds up the tee, upstairs is screaming, take a shot, and they've also got a very good touch point on the game. So, you know, you got to be really certain. And, you know, every coach that I've worked with, if they do a sign like that and you go, nah, stuff them, we're going to the line, they would, like Goog says, they will support you 100%, and they're always like that. I haven't worked with a coach that hasn't. But, you know, they're pretty certain if the water boy's going, you know, with the tee that they want it.
If the tee lands at your feet before you've even pointed.
If they're running out already, before you've even made the decision, you know you should take a shot at goal.
Just quickly on that, do you make a point of looking in that direction as quickly as you can to get a guide on that?
Yeah, it's definitely one of those factors that helps you make a decision. So if they're really strong on something, then it's, you know, if you're stronger against breaking that decision, it almost reaffirms that, you know, I'm really confident here. Yeah.